In this episode, we're diving deep into the world of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI as it's commonly known. It's a topic that's buzzing everywhere, but what does it really mean, and how does it impact our lives?
Exactly. It's thrown around a lot, sometimes feeling like corporate jargon, but it's actually fundamental to creating a fair and just society. Let's break it down, shall we? We can start with diversity. What does that mean to you, Sophia?
To me, diversity is about representation. It's acknowledging that our world is made up of incredibly varied individuals, each with their unique backgrounds, experiences, perspectives, and identities. This encompasses race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, religion, disability status, socioeconomic background. The list goes on. It's about celebrating those differences, not just tolerating them.
I couldn't agree more. It's about having a rich tapestry of perspectives, not a homogeneous landscape. Think of a garden. A monoculture is vulnerable to disease. A diverse garden is much more resilient. A diverse workforce, society, or community is similarly stronger and more innovative because it brings together many unique talents and approaches.
Absolutely. And moving on from diversity, we have equity. This is where things get a little more nuanced. Diversity is about representation, but equity is about fairness and justice. It means ensuring everyone has equal opportunities and resources, even if that means providing different levels of support to achieve equal outcomes.
That's key. It's not about treating everyone the same, because we all start from different places. Imagine a race where some runners start at the bottom of a hill and others at the top. Giving everyone the same amount of time to run won't create a fair race. Equity is about ensuring everyone has a fair chance to reach the finish line. It's about leveling the playing field.
Exactly. And that's the crucial distinction. Equity isn't just about equal treatment, it's about equal outcomes. It recognizes that systemic barriers and historical injustices create inequities that need to be actively addressed.
And then we come to inclusion. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. Inclusion means creating an environment where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to participate fully. It's about fostering a sense of belonging where everyone can bring their whole selves to work, to school, or to their community without fear of judgment or discrimination.
It's about actively creating space for everyone to thrive. It's not just about being present. It's about being seen, heard, and valued for who you are. A diverse group isn't automatically inclusive. You can have a diverse group where people still feel marginalized or excluded.
That's a really important point. Diversity is the ingredient list, equity is the recipe, and inclusion is the delicious meal we serve. Without all three, you simply don't have a fully realized, thriving, and just society or organization.
You know, I was reading an article the other day about the power of diverse teams in problem solving. Apparently, diverse teams are significantly more likely to come up with creative solutions to complex problems than homogeneous ones. It's simply because different perspectives challenge assumptions and spark innovation.
That's fascinating. It just goes to show that DEI isn't just a moral imperative. It's also good for business, for society, and for innovation. Think about it. If you only have one type of viewpoint, you're severely limiting your ability to see the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the big picture, it's about the individual experiences too. Imagine the impact on a child growing up seeing themselves represented in leadership roles, in textbooks, or in the media. That kind of representation can be transformative.
It truly can. It fosters a sense of belonging and possibility that can have a ripple effect throughout their life. And on the flip side, the lack of representation can lead to feelings of isolation and invisibility. It's about fostering an environment where everyone feels seen and valued.
So how do we actually achieve DEI in practice? It's not something that happens overnight, right?
Absolutely not. It's a continuous journey, a process of ongoing learning, reflection, and improvement. It requires a fundamental shift in mindset and culture. Organizations need to examine their policies, procedures, and practices to identify and address any biases or barriers that might be hindering equal opportunity.
That's right. It involves things like implementing inclusive hiring practices, providing diversity and inclusion training, creating employee resource groups, and actively promoting a culture of respect and understanding. It's about making sure everyone has access to opportunities and resources, regardless of their background.
And it's crucial to remember that this isn't just the responsibility of HR departments. It's something that everyone, at every level of an organization or community, needs to be involved in. It's a collective responsibility.
Precisely. And accountability is key. Organizations need to set clear goals, track their progress, and be transparent about their efforts. It's not just about making a statement. It's about taking real, measurable action.
And it's about listening, too. Creating space for dialogue and feedback is crucial. DEI initiatives should be informed by the lived experiences of those who are most impacted by systemic inequalities.
Absolutely. It's about centering the voices of marginalized communities and using their insights to shape effective solutions. It's not about speaking for them, but with them.
And let's not forget the importance of allyship. Allyship isn't just about being a good person. It's about actively working to dismantle systems of oppression and create a more just and equitable world. It's about using your privilege to amplify the voices of others.
That's a powerful point, Lily. And remember, allyship is not a title, it's a practice. It's an ongoing commitment to learning, listening, and taking action. It requires self-reflection, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and a commitment to ongoing growth.
It's about understanding your own biases, challenging your assumptions, and being willing to learn from your mistakes. It's not always comfortable, but it's essential for meaningful change.
Speaking of uncomfortable truths, I remember reading a study that showed a significant disparity in pay between men and women in similar roles. It really highlighted the persistent presence of gender inequality, even in seemingly progressive organizations.
That's sadly not surprising. There are so many insidious ways that bias can creep into systems and create inequality. Often, these biases are unconscious, which makes them even harder to identify and address.
That's why things like unconscious bias training can be really helpful. It helps us to become aware of our own biases and to develop strategies for mitigating their influence on our decisions.
It's a great first step, but it's not a magic bullet. It's crucial to pair this kind of training with structural changes that address systemic inequalities. Training alone isn't enough to create lasting change.
You're absolutely right. It needs to be a holistic approach. Addressing DEI requires a multi-pronged strategy that includes policy changes, training programs, and a cultural shift towards a more inclusive and equitable environment.
And it's a journey, not a destination. It's a process of continuous improvement, learning, and adaptation. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and new things to learn. The important thing is to keep striving for progress, however incremental.
Exactly. It's about creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential, regardless of who they are or where they come from. And that's a goal worth striving for.
I think sometimes people get overwhelmed by the enormity of the task. It can feel like such a massive undertaking that it's paralyzing. But we need to remember that every small step counts. Every act of allyship, every conversation, every policy change contributes to a bigger movement towards justice and equity.
And celebrating small victories along the way is important too. Acknowledging progress, no matter how small, keeps us motivated and reminds us that we're making a difference. Plus, it makes the journey a lot more enjoyable.
Speaking of enjoyable, did you hear about the AI who went to a DEI conference? It was revolutionary.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. Please tell me.
Apparently, it was a complete paradigm shift. Get it? Because it was a paradigm shift.
Oh, Lily, you're terrible. But I appreciate the much-needed levity.
My apologies, I couldn't resist. Seriously, though, DEI is a complex and multifaceted issue, but it's crucial that we keep talking about it, keep learning, and keep striving to create a more just and equitable world.
Absolutely. And I hope this episode has helped to demystify some of the key concepts and highlight the importance of DEI in creating a fairer and more just society. It's a continuous journey, and it's one we all need to be a part of. Remember, small changes can create big impacts.
Indeed. And remember, you don't have to have all the answers to be a part of the solution. Showing up, listening,